Hey guys, it's Brian and Ben here for another edition of Herfin Heads, and this time we're taking a look at the new Davidoff Escurio. Actually, the Petit Robusto size. It's basically, I guess it's basically a cigar, a Robusto they chopped about 2 inches off, or an inch and a quarter off. So it really is that size. So if you don't know about the Escurio, it's basically a new blend that's coming out, being introduced at the trade show. I think it's going to be available in August of 2015 in the U.S. and September in other parts of the world. And it's an Ecuadorian Havana seed wrapper. It's a Brazilian Cubra seed binder, Modafina and Cubra from Brazil, San Vicente Piloto, and a hybrid Olor Piloto Sec from the Dominican.
Doing all right. It's super hot down here, so I'm glad we're doing the Petit Robusto.
Yeah, it's funny, yeah, because we were looking at doing this, and we're like, which ones do you have left? Because we got some samples from Davidoff. Well, he went and smoked the big one, I went and smoked the Robusto, so the only one we had in common was the Petit Robusto. So that's why we're going so short on it. So
Yeah, it's pretty nice. Davidoff sent both of us these little press kits like this, and we'll open it up kind of gently here, which you can see in mine. I got, yeah, I took the book out of mine because I was just reading it, but let's see if we can pull it out a little more. It came with like a Toro Grande, which is a pretty big cigar. The Robusto, the Petit Robusto, had a little jump drive with a press kit in there, and pretty cool looking matches right there.
That's one of my favorites. This little kit. I like that they put it all together like that. I love that they included matches with it. I love lighting cigars with matches.
Right, and I like how they're the long matches.
Oh yeah, yeah, the proper stick matches. It's a small point, but it's like a little weird fetish of mine. I don't always get a chance to, but if I'm really enjoying myself and I really want to take my time, I like to start off with a match as opposed to a torch. But oh, there's not really too much to inspect with cigar, is there?
No, they're so small. You know what's?
I like the size. I like short smokes, and I like that it's a proper cigar size. It's not huge. It's not tiny. It's a cigar size. It's short. What do you think?
Yeah, I like them. And matter of fact, like the new Cubans coming out, a lot of them are coming. They're kind of going in two different directions. They're going either larger, bigger ring gauges, like 55 ring gauge or something like that, 6 by 55 or whatever. But they're also introducing little Petit Robustos as well. Like, one of the most famous is the Monte Cristo Petit Edmundo, which is, Petit Robusto.
Yeah.
And they're super popular, and they're actually really good cigars. They actually, with Cubans, you got to age them for a while, but with the Petit Robustos, there's such a short lifespan with those for aging because there's not as much tobacco, and they're smaller, so they're a quicker smoke. So they're really super popular. So I'm kind of glad to see Davidoff kind of doing the same thing with them, introducing Petit Robustos. Yeah.
Yeah. I just I'm busy.
Yeah.
This is easier to fit into anything than than a regular cigar. Another inch or two, and it's if you smoke slowly like I do, it's a little bit of extra investment.
Yeah, it's a perfect lunchtime smoke with its size.
Oh yeah,
I'm a big fan of the size. So when I opened the press kit up and I saw it, I'm like, oh, that's awesome. So it's kind of been looking forward to testing this one out. So
now when we pulled it out of the kit, it's like when you look at it first, it's like, wow, that's small. But I mean, there's a lot of cigar there actually. I mean, considering it's like what I think the official size is 3 1/4 by 50.
Yeah.
And while I'm speaking of sizes, the Robusto is 4.5 by 54, and the Gran Toro is 5.5 by 58. I believe those are correct. But yeah, 3 1/4. But I mean, if you, obviously you don't want to smoke it down to the band in this case.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you take the bands off and go for it, you've got some time. You got a little bit of smoke in there. It's again, I think would be more satisfying just overall than a lot of the little cigarillos that are out there, little bins. All right, well, unless you have anything else you want to add.
No, I was just going to say how beautiful the cigar looks. I mean, it's a typical Davidoff quality. I mean, it is just like stunning looking wrapper on this thing. You know, just beautiful looking cigar. Really well made.
Yeah, it looks great. It's nice and oily. You know, it's the cap is a little larger than I'm used to seeing on some, but I'm not going to complain about that. Yeah, all of them have looked pretty nice to me, so I've got no real issues there.
Yeah, it's a pretty large cap because mine ends about right there. It's kind of a deep cap on it.
Yeah, mine's more or less in that range right there. Yeah, but you know, more cap is not a bad thing especially if it prevents any issues with the cigar unraveling or whatever, which can happen. I don't think I've ever had a Davidoff of any kind ever unravel. So
no, never.
All right, I think we should light this little guy up and and come back in.
Sounds like a plan.
We will be right back. Okay, we've lit these little guys up, and I think Ben's a little bit ahead of me on that. Yeah, he's getting close to the band. I think I've been talking too much and trying to figure out what it is, exactly I'm tasting here. What are you getting, Ben? What do you think?
Well, I got first. What I was getting was there's a nice oakiness, so rich oakiness. I got a hint of black pepper. I got something that I was originally described as a graham cracker, but as we talked about it, it's a little bit more developed than that. Because what I was getting was it has a sweetness to it, it has a bready quality to it, and it has like a spice to it. The way I pictured it in my head was like cinnamon, which immediately I just thought graham cracker. But then you thought, well, no, it's a little bit more earthy to me. You know, I said, yeah, maybe it's because it reminded me of like almost what I consider a Christmas spice. And you say maybe, you know, clove. I thought, yeah, clove. That's closer to what I'm tasting than, you know, maybe cinnamon. So I get that with sweetness, a little bit of clove, some breadiness, oak, you know, a little bit of black pepper. You know, that's kind of what I'm getting too. I mean, it's so far it's pretty tasty.
Yeah, as I'm smoking it and catching up with you, I think I'm seeing what you're saying because I wasn't getting a lot of that sweetness. The oak, yeah, for sure came through. I've had something along the lines of nutty/nougaty type of thing going on. There's a sweetness and there's a spice that's definitely coming up, and it's got like a sweet clove allspice in that area kind of thing going on. Yeah, it's pretty good. This is as I recalled from the Robusto. It's a cigar that seems like it's on the move pretty quickly. So this little bit that I'm in, it has changed considerably from where I was. So I'm thinking this is going to be similar to the Robusto experience in that it's continually moving. It is a cigar that's supposedly invented by A Night in Reno. So I guess the festive, fast-moving type of thing. So I think that's what we're looking. I think that's what we're going to be in for with this thing. But again, this is the first one of these I've had, so I can't really say for sure. But
yeah, I've already had to take my band off because it's already started to burn the bottom of the cans.
All right, we're back. Ben's still a little bit ahead of me, but it's a short smoke, so we had to come back in before he takes the final band off there. It's been a really interesting smoke so far. It really. Not a lot of travel, but there's interesting development. What are you getting there, Ben?
I'm not getting too much different, but to me, it's the flavors of doing a roller coaster because one will peak and then other ones will fade, the other ones will come back, and the other one will fade. Like to me, the oak kind of went that down, and then right when it goes back to the midway point, it kind of got more. And like you said off air, the peppercorns kind of came back to me. Like I got at the very beginning, it died off, came back. And I'm getting the sweetness to me is more pronounced as well too. I'm getting the breadiness has kind of died down. I'm still getting a little bit of that clove note, but it's not as strong as it was from the very beginning either. That's pretty much all. It's the same flavors. It's just kind of a roller coaster ride on where they're at on their palate. You know, like how strong they are on their palate.
I definitely agree on the oak and the peppercorn thing. I had one puff where it was just like it was a really great representation of a peppercorn. It was like having the whole thing in your mouth and tasting the variation in the peppercorn. It was It was surprising, but it was like a couple of puffs, and then it moves on. I've had spices. There's been a very pronounced kind of a musty, almost mushroomy thing going on with it, and then there's a little nougaty kind of sweetness to it. A little bit of I get some earthy spiciness coming in and out a little bit. It's I don't think when I'm tasting it, it's coming across quite as sweet as it is to you, but there is a lingering light sweetness to it that kind of isn't separated from the other flavors, but it's there with them. So,
well, that could be where you're talking about the nougaty flavor that you're getting. Whatever, I don't eat it, so honestly, I don't know what to describe how it tastes like. So maybe it's part of that. When I say it's more sweet, maybe that's the part of the flavor that I'm getting is
it's. I guess you could kind of say it's a creamy. It's kind of an interesting thing. It's kind of, I guess if you were to break it down, it's kind of like a cream and a mushroom, kind of a little bit of a nuttiness, a little bit of mustiness. It's all mixed together with cream, a little sweetness, and it's. I guess I might be doing the flavor a disservice by calling it nougat, because I think people are going to think of the candy bar, and it's not quite the same. Candy bar's filling, it's not quite the same thing as that. It's similar. As with all these flavors, similarities here. Yeah, it's there. It's not. I think that when I was smoking the Robusto, I had some really bright flashes of like fruity sweetness, and I'm not getting it in this particular case. It seems more like what I would expect out of a Davidoff and the Robusto. And again, that was smoked right off the truck. It seemed that was a little bit more vibrant pop, and I don't know if it's just a matter of it being really new, really fresh, and not having settled down or not. But this does seem more Davidoff-ish to me. I mean, does it seem like a Davidoff cigar to you when you're smoking it?
Yeah. Yes and no. I mean, you get the underlying impressions of what you would consider a normal Davidoff line, because with Davidoffs you do get that mustiness, kind of mushroomy undertones in pretty much all the line. But this one, it's still way out in left field from what they normally have too. So
yes.
It has a distinct originality for Davidoff, but yet still maintains its foundation. So it's pretty good.
Rhythm, intrigue, and originality. That was part of the thing. And I don't know if, I'm sure people have noticed this, but I was just thinking about it. We haven't mentioned it yet, but the Escurio, the name of it, is the last three letters are Rio, which is also rhythm, intrigue, originality. So they're really good with marketing. They got all that stuff nailed. So, yeah.
Well, what are you pairing with the cigar, by the way?
Oh yeah, I've had some. I've had a little bit of some coffee, some Kenyan coffee. I did a little pour over with it. It's a little on the potent side. I've been trying to rinse my mouth out with some water to try to keep the influence of it down a bit. So that might be skewing me a little bit, but it's
I'm just got pure water of mine. I mean, I just kind of the reason I went with pure water because. For one, we got 3 samples in the mail. We got one of each size. I got the first one that I smoked was the Gran Toro. And to be honest, it was a letdown because I didn't get much out of that. Maybe because it was such a big ring gauge, which everybody knows. I hate the big ring gauges. But, I mean, that's what I wanted to smoke first to kind of, I don't know. It's kind of like...
They do seem to air out a lot. Diffuse the flavor quite a bit with all of that volume. So
like I told you off camera, it seemed to me like the Gran Toro was muted tenfold compared to this one so far. But that might be an over-exaggeration, but not by much. But the only one I didn't smoke was a Robusto, which you're describing it. I think that that's what I really want to try next.
It's similar to this. It's a few ring gauges larger than it, but I don't know that it's 54, so I wouldn't consider it a large cigar. I mean, it's larger than the cigar sizes of old, but I don't think it's one. It's not a size I usually associate with subdued flavors due to extreme expansive filler tobaccos. So, No, I thought it was good. I mean, now I kind of wish I had let it sit like I did this and smoke it a little bit later. But you know what? I was excited. I had to smoke it. So
Yeah, I'm actually, when I'm smoking, I'm thinking of back to the seminar that Hinky Kellner and his son, Klaus Peter, gave us while we were in the Dominican Republic in January. And they're talking about the parts of your palate and stuff, where the flavor hits your palate or whatever. And, like, I get a little bit of the saltiness in the palate. I get the acidity. To me, there's a brightness to it. The acidity, like even right now, it's lingering right now on my palate. I get a little bit of saltiness, too. But it's nowhere near what the acidity level is. It's a little more acidic than normal, which is a good thing, though. I mean, to me, it's brightening up the cigar that I kind of didn't get with the Gran Toro at all.
now I did get a fair amount of acidity in the Robusto. So I think based on what we're seeing here, when you get to the Robusto, you're really going to enjoy it.
Yeah.
I'm going to proceed with caution when it comes to the Gran Toro.
Yeah.
But all right, well, I'm going to have to take off a band, or I'm going to start smoking label here. So
already had to do that.
Or smoking band anyway. But I think we'll finish this up, come back, and conclude this thing.
Yep. See you in a second. We're back. Let's see. We're getting to the very end of the cigar, but it's getting to where it's getting hot and hard to hold. So,
yeah.
So anyway, Brian, what are you getting off the last part of this cigar?
Right now, the spice came back, like pepper clovey type of spice. There's not as much of the oak. It's there, like that oakiness. That seems like a consistent thing.
Yeah.
Kind of oak cedarish now. Like I don't know what it is about the end of a cigar, but it always seems like to me when I'm smoking something, no matter what it is, cedar just kind of builds as it goes. But that's coming through. The spices. There's a little bit of the creamy sweetness. I don't even know if I'd call it anything other than that. A little bit of that funk, a little kind of almost a mushroom type of thing in there. But that's kind of what I'm getting. It's getting a little on the warm side, but the spice is really more pronounced. It's really staying with me. It's kind of exciting the mouth, and I actually am slobbering a little bit. So.
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of getting the same thing. I'm getting no sweetness at all anymore. I'm getting the oakiness. I'm getting the spice. I'm getting the peppercorn. I get a little bit of the clove, but nowhere near what it was. There's no sweetness anymore for me, and that's about it. It's getting a little bit too hot, so
yeah.
it's getting a little bit funky. But I do get that the musky mushroominess we talked about. It's kind of a Davidoff thing, but even to me, that is a little bit toned down. I'm getting mostly oak and spices. That's a majority.
And I'm thinking. Sorry to interrupt that. I'm thinking the spices are really popping because I'm really noticing some of the acidity of the cigar. It's not coming through like a flavor so much as it's just kind of brightening, I guess, and magnifying that kind of a spicy quality that it has right now. And it is, as they said in they'll tell you in one of their seminars, it is encouraging the saliva glands to just really go with bonkers with the output. But it's kind of wakes you up a little bit.
Okay, when I retroheld a cigar, I do get a little bit of the sweetness, but
it's fading.
Yeah, it's fading pretty hard. Now when I'm kind of picking up, that's why I kept puffing on it. I was like, is this right? There's almost a little bit of a grassiness to it, too, at the end. But, I mean, it's...
I could kind of see that. Like, it's almost like a... if you compare kind of like a tannic quality of the oakiness with some of the acidity, you kind of look at that as... I mean, I would kind of look at that maybe as a grassiness, but it's not... No, I could see that. I could see it. It's not maybe the first thing that would come to mind, but I could see that.
And it's not so much like the smell when you cut grass. It's nothing like that. It's almost more herbal based, kind of the grassiness. It's hard. It's honestly it's hard for me to explain because It's just like a slightly herbalness, grassy kind of quality, but it's faint. It's real faint.
This seems like it has an underlying foundation of a very dark, earthy, almost a chocolate or an espresso like underneath it all. There's like a very dark, solid, dense core to it underneath, like because it's really the spices making the mouth pop right now. But underneath that, it's a very dense foundation, I would say, to it.
Yeah, it's a tasty cigar. I really enjoy this cigar. As small as it is, it's pretty damn nice. I mean, I really enjoyed it. I much prefer this way over the Gran Toro.
Now we did a little research in the break because we weren't sure about the price. It wasn't included in the press kit, but it looks like, based upon the one retailer I found that has it listed online, it looks like this little guy is probably going to retail between $9, maybe, or maybe $9 to $10, and the large sizes are going to go up. The Robusto comes in a tube. It's a tubo, so that's closer to the 18-ish range, and the Gran Toro's in the about 20-21 range from what I'm seeing. Those aren't official MSRPs, but that's the indication that that a little bit of Googling told me, so that's kind of what you're looking at. And that's kind of not surprising. It's Davidoff-ish prices. It's a little bit more expensive, I think Ben was saying, than Nicaragua tends to be. And this seems to be kind of, with the theme, the black band and all that, seems like it's kind of in the branch of that includes the Nicaragua, though they didn't specifically say that I saw.
Yeah, and I think with all that being said, to me, the Petit Robusto is by far the best bang for your buck. The Gran Toro 2021 bucks, there's no way I'd buy that one. To me, it's just too muted. The flavors are too muted compared to this one to justify 11, 12 more bucks. I mean, you can get two of these for that. I mean,
it's true.
I would much rather have these than the big one. Honestly, I'm looking forward to trying the Robusto, but even at $18 for the tubo, that's still a little pricey, you know. But like you said, it is Davidoff, so.
It is, yes, it's Davidoff. It is a little high. I did like the Robusto, and I will. It's likely I will buy a few more of those because I'm going to have to check the Robusto after it's sat on the market. It's been in a humidor for a while against this, but I like this size. I like the convenience of this size. I like the flavor of this size. I like the liveliness of the flavor. I like it. It stands up to a cup of coffee that I've been drinking. I mean, it's a great smoke. It's a great little smoke. I mean, I'm impressed. I may like this more than the original Nicaragua. Than when it comes to all the black label Davidoffs that I've had, I think this might be the best one I've had so far.
Yeah.
Though I gotta check that Robusto again because that was pretty damn good.
My thing with the Nicaragua is it's cheaper. It's just it's just like two different flavor profiles kind of thing. It's what do you really want, you know? Because they're pretty different. But the Nicaragua is, you know, is cheaper, so it's hard to say which one I'd go for. But just for a change of pace, I would love to have these little Petit Robustos.
I can tell you the chances are really good that I'm going to buy more of these little guys than the other ones, just because, again, it's convenience and they did a good job with this. I like this. It has Davidoff-ish qualities, but it's not what you would expect from Davidoff typically. So I like it. Yeah,
I do too. I mean, and it's for $9, $10 or whatever. Under $10, definitely. There's no doubt. This is a no-brainer. The Robusto for me is kind of like, you know, not really a pass, but it's, you know, I need to try it.
You need to try it.
I haven't had it yet, so I can't really say. For the Gran Toro, it's a definite pass. For me, personally, it's a definite pass. Like I said, for $20-something, the flavor's not as there. I'd much rather just go pick up a Nicaragua, or, you know, or hell, there's a lot of other Davidoffs I'd rather be smoking in that price range than that Gran Toro. And it's not just because of the size. I don't like those big ring gauge cigars. I know they're real popular, but even with all of that, just take the size out of it. The flavor to me was kind of muted, so I didn't really think it would be worth $20. I mean, I'm not getting my money's worth. Where this, I'm definitely getting my money's worth in this cigar.
Yeah.
Robusto, I haven't smoked it yet, so we'll see.
I like this. It seems like a real... It doesn't seem like a short cigar, even though it is. I like that about that. I like the short. I like the flavor. I like everything about it. I think this is a no-brainer. I think this is one I can easily recommend people buying when they have a chance. I mean, it's... I think I foresee a box buy for me on this, but again, this is actually based on this smoke and the Robusto, so it's one of each. So we'll see. I'm going to buy a few more of these. I'm going to try that Gran Toro and see if I agree with Ben, but I can see these. I can see smoking more of these.
Agree.
Definitely
A win. This is definitely a buy for me right now.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think that covers it. Unless you had anything more you wanted to include.
That was it.
Go out and buy some of these. They're good. One in August, I guess, when they come out.
Yeah, you go check out your Davidoff White Label merchants. They should have.
Yes.
I'm not really sure when in August, but probably the beginning of August. I think it is what I heard in the first 2 weeks of August, something like that.
And if you're in the rest of the world, it's September, unfortunately, but it'll get there. It'll be September before you know it. Time's moving quickly.
It's relative.
All right. Well, yeah. With that, I think we should get going because we're getting a little long here. We'll catch you next time.
See y'all later.